Hey, so as Miles said, I'm Rohan, and you guys can hear me all right, right? Cool. So at BrainBot, we make wearable wellness tools. So that includes biosensors that you wear to kind of help you relax and calm down. Hopefully you guys have all had enough drinks at this point that you're mostly relaxed. So I'll try to talk fast and get through this in the 5 minutes. So my background is actually in neuroscience. I used to be at Harvard studying monks. So you might wonder, why would a Harvard neuroscience lab be looking at a bunch of monks who come into the laboratory? And the reason is that it seems like meditation, this has kind of been shown over studies for like 30 years, has all kinds of health benefits. So we were really studying meditation and why, kind of its effects on stress, health, anxiety, depression. Why does that happen, and what's the mechanism? And what we found, and what other people have found, is that it turns out meditating actually changes your brain and rewires it. So gray matter thickens in areas associated with a sense of self, empathy. White matter tracks actually totally rearrange. That can happen in as little as 4 weeks. So basically what we found was that there are kind of concrete, measurable, quantifiable changes that happen in the brain that you can actually track over time. And that kind of led to this kind of epiphany, which was, hey, if you're trying to get better at, say, lifting weights or running, you want to measure every time you go to the gym, how many miles did I run? And the next week, did I increase that number? Same thing with reps, kind of weight training. But with meditation, it's very kind of floofy. It's very internal. It's hard to track that. Even though there are all these health benefits, it's hard to actually figure out how to do it. Am I doing it right? So what we kind of saw was, hey, there are changes that are happening in the brain. Let's try to track those. So I quit my job, and I took a one-way ticket to the Himalayan mountains. So I traveled around for like 9 months with a bunch of brainwave equipment in my backpack, looking for meditating monks. And I found them. They live at the top of those mountains. And what we did basically from that data set was to kind of create an algorithm that detects meditation. And we turned that into an app, which is now live on the App Store, the iOS App Store. It's called Sunlight Meditation. You can download it if you like. Basically, the way that this app works is that it's a little bit of habit design, a little bit of kind of high-tech neurofeedback. Basically, what happens is you're trying to grow this plant. The more you meditate with it, the more the plant grows. Once the plant's grown, almost like a Tamagotchi, you guys remember that thing? You gotta like feed it, otherwise the Tamagotchi will die. It's the same thing with this kind of plant. You just have to meditate with it every couple days, keep the plant healthy. Just a habit kind of design. But the interesting thing that is kind of novel about this headset, and the video is not showing, so I apologize, but basically what it allows you to do is kind of track your meditation over time. So say, you close your eyes, you don't know what you're doing, excuse me, and you're just kind of, in your own space, and you start to think about, God, what do I have to do tomorrow? What didn't I do today? Why am I sitting here? My legs hurt. There's like all kinds of thoughts that come up during this practice, and you know that meditation is good for you, but you can't do it. It's hard to actually stay focused. So what this app actually does with this brainwave headset, and you can see one right here, is that it actually measures when you're distracted. Say when your mind starts to wander, and it gives you feedback. So we worked with meditation instructors. Their voice comes in. It's almost like a virtual meditation instructor who will actually say things like, come back to your breath, things of that nature when your mind is wandering, when you need it at optimal times. So that's how technology kind of help with this. We actually just licensed our technology to be the brain of this new product that's going to be kickstarted the next, hopefully, couple days, which is the Lotus. These guys are making a really cool brass pedal lotus, and basically you meditate with it and it blooms. Pretty cool, and they're using our algorithms and our app as the kind of brain to run the whole thing. This is a demonstration of how that works. And you can kind of see essentially what happens is you're meditating. It goes to the app, which is our kind of our secret sauce, and that then allows the flower to bloom. So that should be a video, not playing, but you get the idea. So why is this interesting? So there's kind of 3 major markets that we're looking at. One is kind of the corporate space, and then the clinical and consumer. But it turns out that a lot of corporations, especially in the Bay Area, actually have mindfulness and meditation programs, because it turns out that you stay more productive, more relaxed, you actually get more work done, you tend to call in sick to work less often if you're not stressed out, right? So Google in particular has a huge program that they've kind of instituted at their own main campus down in Mountain View, and they're interested in kind of using some of our biosensors, so they invited us in to do some demos. It's been really cool. Hopefully we'll have a chance to work with them more. We actually just started our first pilot in the clinical context, which is at one of the Bay Area's largest chronic pain clinics. So it turns out that people with chronic pain actually benefit from mindfulness meditation, so they're using our app and our kind of hardware to help people with chronic pain deal with it a little bit better. And they're our first paying customer, so that just happened a couple weeks ago. Very exciting. And we're also working on some wearable devices. Can't really talk about it too much now, but all of this is kind of getting smaller and moving towards a cool form factor. Team from MIT, Harvard, bunch of smart people from Stanford and so forth. And that's it.
Right on, Rohan. Yeah, I forgot to warn you guys, so that we have a little buzzer now to keep people on point. That's good. We're going to take some questions. So, Sarah, if you want to chime in early and often, it's up to you.
Sure. So this is kind of right at my, I'm supposed to be right here, right in the spotlight in my eye. This is kind of right up my alley. So there's been a couple of different people that have made these brain sensors. I'm sure you're familiar with Motive and a couple others. What is different about yours?
So just to clarify, this actually is not our headset. We've partnered with another headset manufacturer to make this, which has actually been great. We have a team of 3, so we can't go to manufacturing. So we basically solve the inventory, fulfillment, manufacturing problem by partnering. Every time we sell one of these, we get a percentage. So that's our short-term business model. We are working on a wearable device of our own, but that's a different thing.
That's a little bit down the road. Okay. What's been the most interesting thing that you've found from your research? Yeah,
I mean, being in the Himalayan mountains, I meditated in like a cave. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Batman Beyond. You know, the movie where it's like the monastery at the top with the blue flower and the monks. I think I was there. I'm not sure, but
you were there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, these people are basically, they spend their life like decades at the top of mountains just meditating all the time. Super kind, really nice people, but it was a trip to talk to them because it's just a totally different worldview. They have very little, but they're super happy and made me want to meditate, learn what's going on. Yeah.
But what's the most interesting thing you found through your research? I mean
Sure. Yeah.
Come out of this.
Definitely. So I think the way that we're doing some of the algorithms is kind of the intersection between machine learning and neuroscience. So it's a weird kind of feedback between the human brain and like an artificial brain and trying to detect through biosignals what somebody's thinking. It's essentially mental state detection. So it's been cool to see that even with a really simple, this is like the cheapest headset you can get. It's like $99. We've been able to do a pretty good job of classification.
So like future scenario, you'll be able to see is this person calm and rational? Or what's the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess the idea is, one, say, for meditators in particular, if you want to learn how to meditate, it's just hard to start. A lot of people run into this problem.
It's more just like a training your brain to meditate.
Exactly. It makes it easier. It's kind of like there's someone there with you that is always aware of what's going on in your own head and kind of helps guide you, almost like a totally virtual meditation instructor who reads your thoughts.
Are you bootstrapping it? Yeah? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm hogging the stage. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
So one of the I have a question for you. It seems that your technology is a way to bridge a gap between maybe alternative medicine and regular medicine, to quantify what because there is always a disconnect a little bit from a medical perspective between both sides, between the Chinese or alternative and to start really understanding the value of it and put quantifiable value to that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's a little bit of ancient East meets very modern West in this kind of space, and there's a lot of people in the space now. It's kind of exploding because I think there's something there. Meditation has been a very esoteric, floofy thing, but now it's in 450 hospitals across the United States in the form of mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, which is an 8-week course. This is becoming something that insurers are starting to reimburse for, so it's mainstream. It's just a tool that helps you stay less stressed and healthier.
Really quick, I know a lot of you have questions, but are you bootstrapped or are you funded? Yeah,
so we were part of Rock Health, which is a local healthcare incubator. So we raised about $50K in angel and grant money, and we just raised another $20K on Sunday. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got a question in the back as well.
Hi, I'm Diane Schaefer, and I'm a relationship coach. I was curious to see if you have done any research or any intrigue in working with the military with PTSD. I've worked with several of them using a similar technique, but didn't have this type of application.
Right. So I think PTSD in general, and particularly in the military, is a huge kind of problem, and it's getting larger as troops start coming home. But We haven't focused on that. There's a researcher who's at Miami University called Amishi Jha, and that's kind of all she focuses on in the neuroscience space, PTSD, using meditation and mindfulness training for soldiers returning back. So I'd recommend you check out some of her stuff.
What's your revenue strategy?
Sorry, what'd you say?
What is your revenue strategy?
Yeah, so like I said, we get a cut of every headset that we sell. Right now, we're in a chronic pain clinic kind of situation, so they're paying us to develop the app, and then we're also kind of figuring out ways to get reimbursement from insurers, and I think that's going to be the real kind of lever to drive revenue. At least in the clinical space. So I mean, we have these 3 different areas like consumer, clinical, and corporate. I don't really know what the right one is, so we're trying them all. If you guys have ideas, it'd be really helpful, actually.
I'll ask the last one. Is there anything that you're missing? Are you looking for funding? Are you looking for space or programmers or partners? What is it that you need now?
Yeah, so we're actually raising another seed round. Like I said, on Sunday, we raised another 20K. We're trying to raise 300K in the short term, and that's going to provide the ability to kind of ramp up our clinical program, get our hardware going, and actually hire everybody full time. They've been kind of working for free, so hopefully we'll be able to pay them now. Yeah.
Right on.
All right,
Rohan
thank you.
from BrainBot. Give him a round of applause. Good stuff, Rohan. Thank you.